king, I am not a god, I am Humpday!
What's good, Tenno? It's time for Nikana Prime to take down level 9999 Steel Path enemies in Warframe. Let me show you the performance at level cap, and then I come back to you with the build. Let's go! And that's the power of Nikana. Don't forget to slash the like and slash the subscription button for more content. Thank you so much, channel, for your support. As always, before I build my weapons or my warframes, I rely on my method called DVS. D stands for how I'll be dealing damage, what elements I'll be using, what's the faction I'll be fighting. V stands for how I proc 10 stacks of viral to make enemies vulnerable by 325% more damage to their HP. S stands for stripping enemies armor. We don't care about armor, we care about the damage reduction comes with armor, and by lowering armor we lower damage reduction to deal higher damage. Now of course, every Tenno likes a different method, so if you don't like my methods on how I proc viral and armor strip enemies, it's okay. You can check this sheet right here. It can help you maneuver around my methods to find your own style. Now as always, please stick to the community guideline, so we keep a constructive feedback on what to do and not to do. Next thing, we're gonna be using a melee influence in today's video. So take a minute and look at this picture right here, and it will help you building every time with melee influence to understand how it exactly works. And we start as always with the Archon shards. Now, 2 Emerald Archon shards to push the stacks of corrosive from 10 to 14 to armor strip enemies without relying on any helmet ability or focus skill. How corrosive works? By default, 10 stacks of corrosive is first stack removes 26% of enemies armor, and every stack after will reduce enemies armor by 6%. So total of 80% for 10 stacks. Now when you push for 14 stacks, that's 104%, so 100% armor strip. If you use 1 Tau Forged Emerald Archon shards, that's 98%. And never use 2 Tau Forged Emerald Archon shards. Now, they're very optional, and use them only if you rely on your secondary like Epitaph, Compressor, Nuker, and so on, or Shadow as a primary weapon to armor strip enemies. In conclusion, use them only if you have weapons will proc corrosive and armor strip enemies for you. If you have, for example, Terrify, or you have Pillage, or you have Thorough Strike, or you have United to armor strip, you don't need them at all. Other Archon shards, Violet Archon shards to push the melee critical damage by 25%, and if your energy is over 500, the damage boost doubles. That's really crazy. When it comes to Revenant, and you can apply this in any Warframe you want, that's why I use Revenant, as he's a tank, so I don't boost the weapon in any way. No Eclipse, no Roar, no nothing of that. Okay, of course you can go rough for advance, etc. Now, Steel Charge, you can take it off. I've tested it with and without. The performance is so similar. Arcane Fury for the damage, Arcane Strike for attack speed, and Arcane Strike is the one you want to take off if you want to use Multi-Augmented, Energize, or whatever you want. The helmet ability you're using is Nourish, optional as well, and we use Nourish to proc viral on enemies and some energy here and there. Now, the viral will come from Nourish, but if you have another source like your priming weapons, I would highly recommend Compressor, since you can put viral and you can put corrosive at the same time, so you can armor strip them and 10 stacks of viral, so you don't need to use Nourish. Maybe you want to use Wrathful Advance from Kullervo for red crits. When it comes to Nikana, Very beautiful weapon. Blind Justice for the stance. Dreamer's Wrath to activate Tenukai. Tenukai is a sword will pop in your screen. When you perform a heavy attack during that duration of the sword on your screen, you perform a heavy attack without combo consumption. Also, the Dreamer's Wrath comes with a feature that it will increase the chance for the sword to pop in your screen by 50%. And when you perform a heavy attack will be of Tenukai, critical damage increased by 32%. Really amazing. Whipping Wounds for 40% status chance per combo multiplier. Blood Rush for critical chance per combo multiplier. Condition Overload, the more status you have on the enemy priming, the more damage you'll be dealing. Voltaic Strike for electricity and status chance. Galvanized Steel for critical chance, but mainly for the critical damage. Gladiator Might, 60% critical damage and 10% melee critical chance per combo multiplier, so we get to red crits. Now, of course, if you're using Wrathful Advance, you can take this off, and you can use, for example, the Galvanized Elementalist or the Elementalist. Organ Shatter for critical damage. Primed Smite Hurricane is multiplicative damage against the faction you're fighting, so you want to replace this every time you're fighting a different faction. A lot of channels doesn't like that, including myself, so I hope DE one day listens to Papa Hank and give us an NPC, or somehow we can give our faction mods to get universal one. Not for free, of course. We give ours to get. Otherwise, if you don't like to do that, just run Primate Pressure Point, which boosts this weapon so much as it increases the base slash almost 2 times and the total damage like almost 2 times. And as you can see here, you get a huge increase, but of course multiplicative always superior. Now, melee influence. On melee electricity status, 20% chance for elemental melee status to apply to enemies within 20 meters for 18 seconds, cannot refresh while active. They talk about elements. We talk about things that comes from your weapon. For example, because we have Nourish, that's viral, and then electricity, so electricity and viral only will be transferred to all enemies without. You're gonna ask, what about Puncture, Slash, and Impact? These are physical. They don't like pass with melee influence. Another question I get a lot: Hank, Slash ignores the target armor and cause them to bleed over time for extra damage. Why you even armor strip? You need to understand Slash in a different way. Slash has the damage and the tick. The damage doesn't ignore armor. The damage is just a damage, okay? It's just damage. The tick is what ignores armor. So you need to understand how Slash actually works. Okay, so when you hit them, you don't ignore armor, but when you tick, then it's ignoring the armor. That's how the game balances itself. Otherwise, Slash itself, if it ignores armor on hit and on tick, it will be overpowered and unbalanced for DE. Of course, I used Madurai at the Fox School when I play Cascade. Otherwise, I use Naramon if it's survival, and I use Yunairo if I want to armor strip, and so on and so on. And I use my Amp 177, Raplak Prism from Citis, Propa Scaffold and Certus Sprays from Fortuna. I use the Eternal Enslout and Eternal Eradicate. And for the companion, of course, you can use any companion you want, but my favorite is Nautilus. Of course, you can use Panzer Profiler like you saw on the sheet earlier. Nautilus, here you go. Cordon to pull enemies and plays amazing role, especially on close range melee weapons. Duplex for the clones, Assault to attack, Vacuum to pull the loot, Manifold for more Cordon, and then you got Shield, Armor, Health, Fire Rate for your weapons, and then Tenacious Bond to increase your critical damage 120% if your sentient weapon has 50% plus critical chance. Now you can use the best sentient weapon, which is the Veriglass Prime, but it requires a Riven to reach the 50% plus. So if I take away the Riven with critical chance, as you can see, even with the critical delay, it can't get there. So we need a Riven. If you don't want a Riven and all that, okay, Primed Laser Rifle, Volclock or Burst Laser Prime will play the role for Tenacious Bond until you get the Riven. Simple as that. Now, if you have a Riven for your Nikana Prime, and since it's an old school weapon, a lot of Thanos probably has, if it like CC, CD damage, Gladiator Might. If it has, let's say, CC, CD, multiplicative damage to faction, you can replace it right here. If it has like 3 faction damage, you can replace it right here. If it has electricity, you can replace it right here. If it has whatever, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to do my best to help you where to place your Riven. Now, for the Thanos that watches my videos and they see the Primed mods and the Galvanized mods and they have no idea where to get them, the Primed mods, you get them from Barukitir. He comes once in 2 weeks. You like let's say crush your prime parts in any kiosk, in any relay, you get Ducats currency to trade him for the primed mods. The galvanized steel are easier because you have access to them all year and all day, all night. So you do arbitration, you get Vitus Essence, and Vitus Essence you go to the Arbiters of Hexis in any relay and you trade them for galvanized steel. The rest of the mods you just farm them here and there and you'll be good to go. Let's test the weapon now in Simulacrum. And we will summon level 230 heavy corrupted gunners. How I can summon level 230? Because I am legendary 5, in another word mastery 35, meaning the higher mastery you get, the higher level enemies you can summon. So my Sedo has a arcane dexterity, so my combo will not completely deplete very fast. It will be like slowly going off, but I highly recommend, of course, Naramon if you're playing survival, endurance, stuff like that, not Cascade. I believe Madura is really good on Cascade and really good on Eidolon Hunts. Other than that, you run something else. Look at that. We're just like destroying them, baby. We're just destroying them. Okay, that 9 combo multipliers. Let's go. Look at that. We already red crit and no enemies will survive that. There is nothing to prove here. We already like proven ourselves on level cap. There we go. Sedu priming. Now condition overload will play a high role. As you can see, the enemies are being destroyed. Now I'll just try compressor, especially compressor prime is coming out. There you go. Armor strip. Mamma mia. Mamma mia, mamma mia. That's the real power I'm talking about. Now for the Thanos that likes to see only red crits, of course maybe I can use for you this one with the Wrathful Advance from Kullervo. And pretty much the same thing. We're gonna be just priming them with Sedo. We're gonna be using compressor, and we're gonna be just hold. And here you go. Boom, boom. Now we are a very high tier of critical chance because the critical chance that come with from Wrathful Advance is actually absolute. Means doesn't matter how much critical chance you have. It's just gonna add to that. There we go. That's what means absolute. If you have 1% and it gives you 200, it will be 210%. It's not a percentage of what you have. That's what means absolute. And innervate on secondary weapons does the same. Go. Boom, boom, boom. And look at that. I mean, it's crazy. It's really crazy, guys. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. Now, of course, if you have a favorite weapon, you let me know in the comments below which one you want to see next. And now, as a conclusion, I will give the Nikana Prime 7 out of 10 because there is other melee weapons they may stand out like in top of the Nikana Prime. Otherwise, it's really solid and worth testing and building. Hands down, it didn't fail me all the way to level cap. Something else I want to talk to you about is my style and roadmap in my channel. I try to keep things similar from build to build, from weapon to weapon, so you can build so much stuff with similar synergy, so you can try different things, not focusing and investing on one thing and try anything else. You have to compromise and reinvest, okay? And it gets too complicated. For example, if you build a weapon relying on so much synergy and then you go and build and try different weapons, over time you completely forget how that synergy actually worked, and you get confused and why it's not performing the same way it did 2, 3, 4 months ago. So I try to keep things very similar to each other's, so you can play the weapons at any time with same power. I want to say thank you so much if you supported me in any way by watching, liking, subbing, commenting, follow me on Twitch, follow me on TikTok, joining my Discord. Big love to you. Thank you so much. Special thanks to the Hall of Members, special VIPs, and Disputed Donator and Hall of Donations, and everyone in my amazing community. And I'll see you guys next time.